WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5.
President Trump's budget, which he calls the big beautiful bill, passes in the House and it now heads to the U.S. Senate. It's our top story at 5. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jorma Duran. Following a dramatic all-night session and days of negotiations, President Trump's budget narrowly passes in a 215 to 214 vote. All but 2 House Republicans supported the massive budget package, but now it heads to the U.S. Senate, where many have concerns about cuts to Medicare. Bradley Blackburn is here for you now with the latest.
The House debated through the night before narrowly passing President Trump's budget bill early Thursday morning.
On this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214, with 1 answering present. The bill is passed.
It took weeks of negotiations, including pressure from the president himself, to get it over the line.
It was not easy to get to where we were this morning. A long series of late nights in this week, and ultimately the president closed it out.
The bill makes permanent Trump's 2017 tax cuts, which were set to expire next year. It also cuts taxes on tips and overtime. It increases spending on the military and border security. To pay for all of that, it cuts spending on food stamps and slashes nearly $700 billion from federal funding for Medicaid, which the Congressional Budget Office says would lead to nearly 8 million people losing health coverage.
What we've seen is the largest cut to Medicaid in American history.
The House version of the bill now heads to the Senate, where several Republicans aren't sold.
The Senate will basically write its own version of this bill, and I just want to make sure that there are no Medicaid benefit cuts. I'm concerned about some of what the House has done on rural hospitals, essentially, the hospital tax.
House leaders warned their Senate colleagues not to go too far.
Think of this as a one-team effort, as we have, and to modify this as little as possible.
Republicans are hoping to get the bill to President Trump to sign by the 4th of July. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Michigan Congressman Tim Walberg, whose district includes Jackson and Hillsdale counties, chairs the House Education and Workforce Committee. He spoke just after the budget bill passed and talked about what his committee's work will mean.
We found ultimately almost $350 billion of savings, and that's the term because it gives us a chance to make sure that students have a better opportunity with reduced costs to go through their educational process with incentives that make that work, but also make sure that we don't have factory workers in Michigan and ranchers in Texas paying for lawyers in Manhattan their education.
Of course, the budget still has to pass the U.S. Senate and get signed by the president before it takes effect. And there are bound to be plenty to change. So stay tuned to 6 News on air and online, as well as our partners at CBS News, as we continue to keep track of the budget bill and what it means for you. Albert Al Fresco's game night that includes live music is canceled this evening due to the expected nasty weather. Parts of Albert Avenue closed during summer for the seasonal pedestrian-friendly space. It is also a well-known hub for music, lawn games, and giveaways for residents and Michigan State University students. Organizers expect next Thursday's game night will take place as usual. The mayor and owner of the new Afro-Caribbean Lounge had a ceremony to commemorate its grand opening today. The new African-inspired restaurant and lounge is opening up in downtown Lansing. Owners say the lounge is meant to inspire and cultivate the rich rhythms and cultural traditions of Africa in its ambiance and food.
It's something that we would drive 2-3 hours for, and because we just want to eat our food, and now people can come and just feel at home and just order some food and feel good about it.
Owners hope residents will take a peek inside and join its lively atmosphere. Well, the Spartans may be on summer break, but campus has been filled with thousands of students this week. They're not in college, but kids from around the world are in East Lansing for the Odyssey of the Mind World Finals. Karina Prieto is here for you now live with more on how the event will benefit our community. Good evening, Karina.
Good evening, Jorma. This is the 8th time MSU is hosting the World Finals, and the event is projected to bring in more than 10,000 people to the greater Lansing area. Organizers say Odyssey of the Mind is a way for students to learn creative problem-solving skills, gain self-confidence, and make friends. More than 600 teams from 31 states and 11 countries will compete to take home awards. About 6,000 guests are staying in the university's dorms, and around 3,500 participants and judges are staying in hotels in the Greater Lansing area. With up to 20,000 spectators expected, university officials are hoping Odyssey will introduce potential future Spartans to MSU and give a lift to businesses.
Means a lot for local restaurants, hotels, shops. It's a lot of people brought into this area that may never come here for any other reason. And so it's a really wonderful opportunity to show off our hospitality. Events like these are really important for our region because, number one, it recruits people to come here in the future, and we always want that. But in the downtimes of the university, it can be really hard on local businesses, and we are perfectly poised in this beautiful campus to execute large-scale events.
The World Finals run through this Sunday, and Michigan State hopes to host the event again in 2027. Jorma, back to you.
Karina, thank you very much. Meanwhile, over in Jackson County, Concord High School went into lockdown today over a social media post threatening violence against the school. Superintendent Rebecca Adams Hutchinson told families today the district worked with law enforcement to make sure the school was safe before the lockdown was lifted. She adds that the suspect is with administration, but there has been no word yet on who the suspect is or whether criminal charges will be brought. The first wave of holiday traffic got underway today around the country. AAA is predicting record-setting travel numbers this holiday weekend. The agency projects 45.1 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more from home between today and Monday. That's an increase of nearly 1.5 million travelers compared to last Memorial Day weekend. More than 87% of those traveling plan to drive, so AAA is reminding people to get their cars fully serviced before hitting the road.
Last year, we rescued more than 356,000 stranded motorists Memorial Day weekend across the country. And so again, we try to do everything we can to share information to make sure drivers can prevent some of these breakdowns that happen on the roadways.
AAA expects the roads to be busiest tomorrow between noon and 8 p.m. as well as between 4 and 7 on Monday evening. Officials with the Palm Springs, California Fertility Clinic American Reproductive Centers held a press conference today in response to the deadly explosion at its building this past Saturday. The blast killed 2 people, one believed to be Guy Edward Bartkus, who was a suspect in the cause of the explosion. The FBI said the 25-year-old California resident held nihilistic views. Investigators say the clinic was targeted and are treating the bombing as an intentional act of domestic terrorism. Palm Springs Mayor Ron DeHart thanked the entire city council as well as first responders. Leadership of the clinic also addressed the impact on operations and patients and about plans for moving forward.
Their presence was a powerful testament to Palm Springs' unwavering preparedness, a resounding declaration that no one will ever stand in the way of our freedom and peace. My immediate thoughts, like I know many of yours, went to the precious embryos.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
We've seen quite a bit of cool and wet weather across mid-Michigan. Now we can start to look forward to a big warm-up, but we're still not talking about temperatures above average. You look at our high temperature trend, well, sure, there's some 60s and 70s on the way, but keep in mind in 10 days our average high is around 76 degrees, so we'll be way below that, even though the 70s will return. So it's going to feel nice, just not quite as warm as it should this time of the year, and that's assuming you like warm weather. Our 5-day rainfall outlook, notice the heaviest rain's going to remain south of the state line over the next 5 days. Day by day, not a lot in the short term. As we move through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, even into Monday, rain chances are really pretty low. By Tuesday afternoon, a few rain showers begin to return to the area, but nothing too terribly heavy. But as you'll see in the 6+6 day forecast, there is quite a bit more wet weather on the way. A check of the satellite and radar today, our area of low pressures to our east. Notice the clearing line's not that far away, but just not quite here in mid-Michigan for today. So we look at precision cast through the overnight hours. This area of low pressure just slowly drifting towards the east. So we may get some breaks in the clouds out there late tonight, early tomorrow morning. By the time you're heading out tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, clouds probably rolling back into the region, but don't worry about the rainfall to our north. Not going to quite make it here. Maybe northern, lower, or eastern sections of the state with a few rain showers through Friday evening. And for us, there's still some clearing off to our southwest. Wouldn't be impossible to see some of that here, but I think overall still cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Saturday morning, mostly cloudy skies continue, but hopefully some breaks, partly sunny or perhaps even partly cloudy by Saturday afternoon as temperatures begin to warm back into the 60s. Rain showers mainly to our east. We're going to have to wait until the middle of next week before rainfall returns, and once it does, it'll stick around once again for several days. Temperatures currently are sitting in the 50s for the most part. 55 degrees for Lansing, same thing in Mason, 52 in Howell, a little bit cooler, low to mid 50s to the south along the state line. So we check out the Skyview Network cloud cover on the McLaren Cam. Current temperature at 56 degrees, 1/100th of an inch of rain is all we picked up the rain gauge today. A little more in Grand Ledge with 17 1/100ths of an inch of rainfall. Current temperature 55, that is the high. Morning low, not much cooler, down to 46, so very little temperature variation from low to high. On the Jackson Cam, some cloud cover out there. Our current temperature at 53 degrees after a high of 56. Rainfall total 400ths of an inch today. Final stop in Hillsdale, cloudy skies. Current temperature at 55. After a morning low of 46, our daytime high was up to 57 degrees. Tonight's forecast, overnight low down to 39 with mostly cloudy skies. Then as we head into tomorrow, you guessed it, more clouds. But hey, no rainfall on the way. That's good. Temperatures will top out in the mid-50s tomorrow afternoon. The 6-day forecast, as we move through the weekend, temperatures continue to warm with mid-60s on Sunday. Rainfall returns Tuesday afternoon, more rain showers Wednesday morning. We get a break on Thursday, then more rain showers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with high temperatures, at least warm in the 70s. That's good.
That's kind of normal, right?
Yeah, I mean, just a couple degrees below average, but still, 70s will feel much better than it did today.
My grass is literally, it's got like a foot of growth in just the past like 3-4 days.
I mean, we could mow every few days this kind of rain.
I know, right? We appreciate it. Well, we have an update for you regarding the deadly shooting at the Israeli embassy. So stay tuned. 6 News at 5. We'll be right back.